I know only one person told me for sure they won't be here, so if that's the case, we're missing four more people. But we'll get started. Welcome, everybody. This is most of the team for Banja 2025. It's super exciting to see everyone's faces, and we'll have some space today to talk and kind of get to know each other a little bit. The primary goal of this meeting is to help you guys be equipped for fundraising, give you guys all the resources and tools you need to raise the money that is needed to go on this trip. So hopefully you knew you were fundraising and not paying all that money out of pocket. But also we are here to help you. But before we do that, I just kind of wanted to intro you. This is our first gathering for this team and this trip, and I wanted to kind of orient you to what we're doing, what we're hoping for, what we're praying about and dreaming about for our time together this summer. So I'm going to start, I'm going to share some photos. Let me just do this. Two things. Um, So if you didn't know, we're going to Banja Luka, Bosnia. That is in southeastern Europe. I say that because not everyone knows that when they show up to orientation. So now you know where we're going. And on this trip, just some of the things to expect of your time. If you signed up just because it sounded cool, um, you're going to be going to this beautiful city that you see on your screen. It's got some beautiful greenery, amazing architecture, some of the prettiest sunsets I've seen in my whole life. And you get to just fall in love with this place. You're also there to do ministry. You're going to get the experience to study scripture, host events, share American culture with local students, and really just love on them as they come and engage with what we want to do and what we're doing on campus. And we get to enjoy their culture. So we get to go to things like music festivals, we get to try their food, we get to spend a lot of time at coffee shops, we get to roam around the city learning what it's like to be Bosnian and to live in Banja Luka. But all of this comes together and we get to make lifelong friendships with people, with each other, the people on this call, but also our local friends. I think one of the things Jason and I are most looking forward to is seeing the people that live in Banja Luka that we dearly love and get to spend time with every time we go. So, a little orientation to the staff. Chasen, who was talking earlier, long hair, mustache, that guy. Him and I are the directors of the trip. This will be our third time to Bosnia. We went the first year of the trip in 2022. And then in 2023, we directed the trip, led it, planned it, took a team with us. And then this year we get to direct it again. So we're handling all of the big details, the schedule, the budget, making sure your flights are booked, making sure you know where you need to be. All of our days are filled with fun events. That's kind of our role and our job. But we also have a team of staff and a team of student leaders that are going to be helping us. So you can see your screen and kind of scroll around. You can look for these names. So we have three other InterVarsity staff that are going to be helping us lead you guys and kind of run the trip. So we have Bryce and Caroline Fecarata. They're the staff at Utah State University. And then we have Rachel LaForge, who's the staff at Boise State University. A really fun fact about the team of the five of us is we were supposed to go on a global program all together in the year 2020 to China. Chasen and I were InterVarsity interns, and Bryce and Caroline and Rachel were all going to be students, a part of the trip. We were actually their fundraising coach, and we were like planning to go on this trip. And then the trip got canceled because, global pandemic. So this is our redemption year. So it's going to be really, really good. 4 years and 5 years in the making. And then we have some student leaders. These are all students that have been a part of the global program before. So I'm going to just say their names and what year they were a part of the trip. So coming back just from last year, we have Aiden, Luca, and Ellie. Luca just turned on his camera. So they were part of the 2024 Bosnia trip. And then we have Ramaya and Gabe, and they were also on that very first trip with us in 2022. So that's kind of who's leading the trip, who's helping plan, who's going to help run small groups, and some of the people that are going to be helping with your fundraising coaching. So that's a little bit of orientation, but Chasen's going to really run us through the why and the how of fundraising.
Yeah, before we get into that, I'm just going to have you guys be in breakout rooms that I'm going to turn you in a couple of times. But we want you to get to know each other, at least on a small scale. So I have staff and student leaders running these breakout rooms. You're going to know who you are once you're in the breakout room. So Luca, Ellie, Aiden, Ramaya, Gabe, Bryce, Caroline, and Rachel, get ready to run a breakout room. Uh, for this first round, you're going to be in the breakout room for maybe like 3 to 5 minutes. Uh, some things you want to share: your name, where you're from, why you want to go on this GP, what are you nervous about, how do you feel about fundraising. So, name, from, why do you want to go on the GP, what are you nervous about, and how do you feel about fundraising. I'll broadcast that to all the rooms as well. Okay, but get ready to go into the rooms. Okay. All right, so the people I have missing on here is Ian and Blaze.
Hey, your
There it
broadcast
is.
went for like 2 seconds and disappeared.
Name, from, why you want to go, are you nervous, how do you feel about fundraising.
Perfect, we got it.
Just be social. You got it.
Cool.
Unassigned. Kelly, you want to join one? Well, we didn't assign Sam to a breakout room. Kind of funny. Went through him where Ian was supposed to go. I texted Jared, telling him that Blaze needs to be on this fundraising meeting. Okay. What did I want to open? There he is. Oh, no way. Nice. Okay, I'm gonna call him back. Ready? No. Great. Delaney, look at that face.
I didn't mean to click return to
Oh,
in seconds.
I know you
So
could have waited a little bit.
my poor breakout group.
You at Cam's house?
No, I'm in one of the random buildings because we don't have anywhere to sit at our home anymore. So
Oh,
I'm just
you're
at like
right.
one
That
of the small
sucks.
buildings.
It's weird to come back to the house. Like there's nothing.
I really like it empty. I think it's
Oh,
really fun that way.
it's fun to slip and slide around and
Yeah. And it was really empty. And I was just sitting in the middle of the house playing my guitar and singing like
Mhm.
Thursday night. And it was really a vibe. So
Oh, that's cool. I like that. What about that?
yeah. How's Kitty doing?
We're gone. Kitty, we left Kitty behind.
Yeah, that got cut
Yeah.
down real quick.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about Kitty.
All
That's
right.
tough.
Okay. So I want a little bit of communication. So in the chat, on a scale of one being like I have no confidence at all in partnering, fundraising, raising support, or five being like I have complete confidence, gonna go 10 for 10, super stoked. Will you type your response in the chat on how you feel about fundraising? Five, four,
Wow.
3.5. Who's doing decimals? 2.5. That's off the table, man. All right, okay. We're feeling good. Oh wow. Hey, praise God, guys. Probably because all your staff is on a sprint right now. So you're like, they're doing it. We could probably do it. So anyway, super excited to go through this training with you guys. I'm just going to show you some photos. Uh, Kelly, of course, talked about our trip in Bosnia. This is from a couple years ago. But here's when I went on my first global program as a student myself. So I'm in the upper left here. I had long hair, I had short hair with a mustache, then I had none of that. Because where I was going in the world, it was culturally inappropriate for men to have long hair, and it would have been conspicuous to have facial hair. So here's me and my feels like weird to say mission companion, especially within the context of like Utah, Southern Idaho. But that was me and my mission companion, Henry. Uh, and we worked in Lodwar, Kenya. And here was the family that took us in for about 3 weeks. And it was a really, really amazing time. But uh, just like all of you, I'd never fundraised this much money. And maybe like some of you, I didn't come from a Christian context. So it was really challenging to have to rely not just on God, but on people during this fundraising try. Uh, Here's what this meeting is going to look like. I am going to pray for soft hearts real quick, according to this PowerPoint. My bad. Uh, King, King Jesus, give us all soft hearts. Give us a lot of time to get stuff done. Prepare our minds and our souls that we can rely on you and rely on others. Thank you, Jesus. Amen. Here is what we will be going through. We are going to get a biblical basis for fundraising and a biblical basis for missions. That'll take about 30 minutes or so. But then a bulk of this time is really going to be practical work, writing your letter, creating a potential partner list, and then making a game plan for how we're going to send out all the letters, how we're going to contact all these people. So this meeting is really to serve you guys and to get a bulk of the hard, annoying work done before winter break. So then when you come back in January, it'll be easy to send out the letters. It'll be easy to send out the texts. We're, of course, going to do a question and answer time at the end, then a short blessing. But before we get into any of that, I want to talk to you guys about opposition because you've decided to take a step forward in following Jesus on a mission trip. You will probably have faced opposition. And this happens at any time. One of our ministry partners in Salt Lake City, they say, wow, stuff is going really well on campus. You guys must be facing spiritual evil constantly. And in some ways, that's true and really sad, but it's not all the time. But here's some opposition I think you guys might be facing and some responses I have to it. So the first opposition is not a sign that God doesn't want you to go. It might be spiritual warfare or to develop a greater desire or a bigger faith in God. So some of you are starting to believe in the lies of, I'm not called to go. Maybe I should spend my somewhere elsewhere. Maybe I should do this. And those are just lies from Satan. And God isn't asking you or trying to tell you to choose out. God is asking you to have a deeper intimacy or consecration with Him. When I wanted to go to Kenya, I was like, oh, should I spend my summer getting a research job at a lab? Should I look at philosophy grad schools? But God was asking me to rely on Him and remain strong to the commitment I made at Mark Camp during Mark 1. The second form of opposition I commonly see students face is honoring their parents' wishes. This is tough. We all come from different family dynamics. I come from a white family, and basically, if I want to, I can say F you to my parents. It's a very independent family background, right? I'm not telling anyone at all to say F you to their parents, right? The Bible calls us to honor our parents, right? It's in the top 10. It's in the 10 commandments. But here's what I will say. Obeying your parents is different than honoring your parents. You can honor your parents' wishes while disobeying them. And really, at some point, if you want to follow Jesus fully and you want to make your faith in Jesus separate and distinct, even if it's inspired by your parents' faith, you will have to disobey your parents' wish. You don't have to disobey every single command from your parents, but you do have to strike out on your own. You have to go out on an adventure. And we have a great biblical example of this, right? Genesis 12. Abraham is called to leave Ur, the land of the Chaldeans. That's an example of Abraham leaving his father's homeland to follow Yahweh, the God who has called him anew. This happens with Moses. This happens with David. This even happens with Jesus as his parents freak out. Jesus, Abraham, David, Moses, Ruth, so many others. These are examples of people that have honored their parents, but have chose to disobey their every single wish. And just a bonus too, going on a short-term mission trip like this for multiple weeks, this will cause your parents to put their faith in God anew. I know when I went on a mission trip to Kenya for 8 weeks, my parents are not Christians, but I'm sure they were praying every once in a while to a God they did not know. So maybe your parents are giving you some flack over Thanksgiving break. I just want to encourage you that that's a normal thing that every student goes through. It's a common thing too. So don't feel out of place. The third thing of opposition is loneliness, lack of passion or motivation. How are you going to do all of this? Maybe Satan is saying, that's a lot of money. You can't do that. There's no way. Do you know where you're from? Do you know how much your family and your friends make? There's no way that can happen. That's just a lie. So here's where we want to come alongside you as staff and say, we as staff, me, Kelly, Bryce, Caroline, and Rachel, we are committed to helping you. We want to suffer with you. We want to pray with you. We want to dream with you. And we want to plan with you. Do not feel discouraged if you need help. I'm not going to call the person out unless they want to nominate themselves. But a student today even asked me for help with fundraising at church because they had a small contact list. Dude, I am totally down to help others out and get them some recommend asks. That's what I'm about, man. Kelly and I, Bryce and Caroline and Rachel, only have our jobs because other people have come alongside and suffered with us. So, as we're going into this, we're trying to make a biblical basis for fundraising. You guys have already answered how we feel about financial partnership for fundraising. But now I want us to see what the Bible says about it. So here are scriptures here. Staff or a student in the small group, will you take a screenshot of these scriptures? Because you are going to be assigned these scriptures. Okay. So I'm just going to go through the groups right now. Bryce's group, you are going to get Exodus 16. Caroline's group, you are going to get 1 Kings 17, 1 through 16. Rachel's group, you're going to get Matthew 7, 7 through 12, and Mark 6, 30 to 34. Aiden's group, you're going to get Mark 6, 30 to 34, and Acts 4, 32 to 37. Ellie's group, you're going to get Philippians 4. Oh, sorry, you're going to get Acts 4, 32 through 37, and Philippians 4, 10 through 20. Luca's group, you're going to get Philippians 4, 10 through 20, and Exodus 16. I know I'm switching it up now. Exodus 16, Luca's group. Gabe and Ramaya's group, you're going to get 2 Corinthians 8, 1 through 6, and chapter 9, 6 through 15. And in your groups, you're going to answer these 2 questions. What do you learn about partnership from these passages? And what do you learn about asking and relying on God? I'm going to give you guys probably 20 minutes in these groups. So we're going to be back in this room at 4:45 to answer your questions or to answer these questions. We're going to share about it. We'll take a little break and then we'll go into the high practicality of all this. Sound good, team? Thumbs up. I can only see like 6 people, but that's okay. Staff, any questions? Student leaders, any questions?
Can you go through the passages one more time?
Ooh, yikes. Okay, let's go. Bryce, Exodus 16. Caroline, First Kings. Rachel, Matthew 7 and Mark 6. Aiden, Mark 6 and Acts 4. Ellie, Acts 4 and Philippians 4. Luca, Philippians 4 and Exodus 16. And Gabe and Ramaya, 2 Corinthians. We all good now? All right. Okay. See you guys in 20 minutes. Sorry, I'm a little rusty at Zoom now. I think I need to resend those questions. Yeah, will you make a staff and student leader group chat? Yeah. Oh, he's a 6. Okay. Number 4. Chloe's a 2. Okay, that's good to know. Cameron Clarko's a 2.5. Bones a 2. Okay. Dude. Yeah, sure. Romaya, Gabe, Aiden, Luca, Ellie, right? 5. Bryce, Caroline, Bryce, Caroline, Rachel, and Kelly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that right? Are you making purchases? You want me to look at them? No. Yeah, it was okay. I thought your intro was good and fun. Okay, let's see if I'm following my own script here, huh? I don't think I am. Let's see. Cool. Well, anything you want to talk about? We chilling? 20 minutes. So I'm gonna bring him back at 4:45. So I have 18. You feel like that's too much? If you feel like you are running out of things to talk about, comma, please use a different passage. I'm just gonna text Eric Dad too. Oh, you want to tell me what you bought? I'll take it out of every dollar if you can. Or should I just look it up? Okay. Hold on. Shoot. 2668. Okay. What is it? Just Target Abby's gift. Okay. Okay. Target Abby's gift. Cool. No. Well, just see the stuff we're doing stuff, huh? Hey. The stairs don't look any different at all. It's crazy. But maybe they do. I don't know. Yeah. Mm-hmm. For real. 10 out of. With what? An hour? Why'd you take an hour? Where'd you push them to?
The side yard by the bike.
That's what I do. Took you an hour? You should not dedicate that much time to it. Oh, I like them. You should have left them. You did the chore. I love it. Thanks, Maya. Sweet. Thanks. Great.
Standard. It's equal. If I want.
It's like the shoes that Abby wear.
I would at least want to appreciate
Hmm. All right. Kelly, I'm bringing people in.
Yeah, I would say this cool sneaker.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Will you help me edit this video after? Oh, Luca's small group, a little lazy, huh?
Yeah, that's my small
Just,
group.
just,
Yeah.
just vying to get out of there, huh?
Or we were really smart.
Oh, it's true. Yeah, yeah. You're not lazy. You're just efficient, right? That's what we all say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you get everything done that needs to get done, man, just lays around the other half the time. So it's true. All right. Hey, well, I don't want your small group leaders to share, so you're going to have to nominate yourselves and you're going to have to talk. So, Exodus 16 people, what did we learn about partnership, relying on God, relying on others? Give me an Exodus 16 person.
I got you. So yeah, we pretty much just talked about how like Exodus 16, it was about like the Jews when they got out of Egypt and they were
Mm.
forced to rely only on God, and
Hmm.
it's something they were praying for. Like they really wanted to get delivered for it, but once they did, they just wish they were back in that slavery that they were once in. And I feel like it's
Yeah.
really just like strong because like God did end up providing for them. And I don't even know if they took it straight to God. They were just like, man, we're tired. But then
Mm.
a few verses down, it kind of says how God hears their or heard their grumbling. So then
Mm.
God just came through and he gave them bread from heaven, that manna,
Yeah.
and he just
Yeah.
provided for them all the way, exactly what they needed. I
Yeah.
forgot what the verse was, but everybody got exactly
Yeah.
enough like bread and just like meat, but
Yeah.
they couldn't like hold on to it through the night. So God will make it spoil and rotten and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then when the
Yeah.
day came, he would just continue to provide for them. So I really feel like it just really shows that all we can really do is trust in God because that's all they
Yeah.
had out there. And even
Yeah.
though they were really upset, like God still came through. So that's what we
Let's
talked about.
go. Let's go, Juan. Preach it. That's good. Yeah, I love that. It's God's providing just what they need. And even in this time as a team, God will provide for us just what we need. That's great, Juan. And even though we want to go back to independence, and what if we just, I had a student say, what if I just raised all $5,000 on my own by working? It's like, bro, you don't even make $5,000 a year not going on a mission trip. You're not going to do it now. We have to rely on God. That's awesome, Juan. Okay, who are my First Kings people? First Kings 17. Give me a First Kings 17 person.
Um, Ours was interesting. I think the couple of things that we picked up on was that there was like a dichotomy of faith. So you had to have faith in God Himself to provide for you, and then also faith with believers and non-believers
Mm,
um, to help either guide you or provide for you.
yeah. Does anyone from Doug's group want to carry on what you think he's saying?
Sure, I can go ahead. Because I know he doesn't have a great connection as we learned. Um but just the obscure ways that God does
Mm,
provide for us. We kind of read how Elijah was fed by ravens. Um and yeah, that's just kind of just imaging that is just
yeah,
crazy. Um Also like equally encouraging, I would say. And so
yeah. And he's
yeah.
also fed by a non-Jewish widow, right? So
Yeah, we did talk about that.
yeah. So we should feel encouraged to ask people that may seem financially insecure or financially broke, but actually God could provide through them. Kelly and I just had a fundraising meeting today with a widow, and she was stoked to support us. So I know all of us just want ravens to fly in and support us, but it's just, you should ask people too. That's great. All right, Matthew 7, 7 through 12. This is a layup passage, I think. So who's my Matthew 7, 7 through 12?
I guess I can talk about that one. 7 through 12 is just talking about if you ask, then it's going to be given to you. And like if you seek, then God's going to provide. Like obviously if it's within his will, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's just super direct. Um, just being like, yeah, like give it up to God, like ask him and like look for those things like through
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. And you guys, I think most of you have been through Mark, right? I don't know. I don't want to spoil it for someone. Someone not been through Mark 1, I don't want to get in trouble with staff. Right? What's the secret of the kingdom of heaven? Everyone unmute. Ready?
Ask.
What's the secret of the kingdom of heaven?
Ask.
Ask and it shall
Amazing.
receive.
Amazing. Good job. Okay. All right. Who's my Acts 4 person? What's going on in Acts 4? Or who's sorry, who's my Mark 6 person? Give me a Mark 6, 30 to 34 person. Who's my Mark 6 person?
So we kind of talked about how like when they got off the boat, like Jesus really saw that they needed like a time to like rest and time to like really like they didn't even get time to eat, so they were like Jesus like, you know what, you guys, let's take a chill pill for a minute and like let's go to a quiet place. And he really saw their need for like rest, for like time to recharge and be like get ready to go out. So that's kind of what we discussed for that one.
But then they have to feed 5,000 people
Yeah,
during their time to rest, right? So,
crazy. Just like,
yeah,
it mind blowing.
there will be times this spring semester as you're fundraising that you're like, I just want time to rest. Let's just go to a lonely place. And you're like, shoot, I got to message people. I got to text people. And that's okay because Jesus will be there to provide. Okay, my Acts 4 people, Acts 4:32 through 37. What are my Acts 4 people thinking?
We were we focused so the passage was talking about how a community came together and because of God's grace they were able to like pool their resources, keep everything in common and take care of everyone in the community. And we were really looking at that first part of the verse where it's talking about how the entire group believed they were of one heart and one
Mm,
mind. And we were talking about how partnership is not only like financial, but we also gain these friends, these people who are also of one heart,
yeah,
one mind, who are going with us and supporting us, not only financially, but spiritually and mentally as well.
yeah. In our need to be sent by God, we are also needed to be sent by others, and we create this mini community that can bond over their shared support for us. Awesome, Melanie. Okay, Philippians 4:10 through 20. Who are my Philippians 4:10 through 20 people?
I can go for that one.
Awesome, thanks, Connor.
Yeah, so the first part of it talked a lot about being content in whatever situation you are in, whether it's like you're doing well with money or not. And it talked about like finding strength in God. And then towards the end, it talked about like if it is fulfilling God's glory, He'll provide for your needs.
Mm,
And we talk a lot about reliance on God through
yeah,
your situations because there are going to be highs and lows. And then also how the people who are going to provide for you are also going to be blessed too. It's not just you.
yes, yes. I think that's the biggest thing is we need to get over this mindset of us asking for support, us asking for partnership limits people, but it actually blesses people and they get excited about going. I remember when I asked my non-Christian neighbor 8 years ago to support me on a mission trip to Kenya, he's like, I can never go to Kenya, but I'm super excited that I get to support you to do it. And it blessed him, right? And it credited his account. Okay, Second Corinthians people. Who are my Second Corinthians people? Speak up.
I could talk on this one. Um, it just really emphasized that all of this is because of God's grace and that He is pretty much just in control of it. That even through poverty, through other circumstances, God's grace shines through, and it kind of just takes the weight off of us and takes the stress out of us not being good enough because God's grace is good enough.
Great. I love it. That's awesome, Luke. Yeah, we are relying on God to provide for us. Here is some of the things I've learned about partnership as I've fundraised for short-term mission trips and to be a long-term missionary. Uh, right now, you guys are in the mission trip. You guys have participated in the mission trip. Financially and prayerfully partnering with others helps us to rely on God and others before the mission trip. If we can't learn how to rely on God and rely on others right now in our cultural safe space, how are we going to learn how to rely on others and God in a culture that will challenge us because of the language, because of the food, and because of the dissonance? Fundraising is antithetical to the Western American mindset of pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps and doing it all on our own. But God's way, expressed throughout the Old and New Testament and the Gospels and the epistles, is to rely on others and to rely on God. I don't know if you guys knew, but all those Marys mentioned in the Gospels, that was Jesus' support team. Jesus didn't just make a bunch of money and feed 5,000 and get paid. He had a group of strong women who followed him all the way to the cross. And if Jesus Christ himself can learn to rely on broke women who are widowed and lost and confused, I'm sure we can do the same. Second thing is partnering with others is part of the mission trip. As soon as you write these letters, being on this meeting, you are participating in the global program. This isn't the sexy, fun, cool part of a mission trip. It's like just as good. Like Kelly and I would much rather be in the dorms on this fundraising sprint right now, but we get to have amazing conversations of seeing God move in the lives of old people, young people, and people that are far away from God as they get excited about God's mission on campus. Finally, partnering with others doesn't only help our faith, but it provides opportunities for members of the church to be generous so their faith is also increased. Guys, church people live some pretty boring 9 to 5 lives. Like, they're super stoked when they see a baptism at church. Like, that's awesome. But that happens, like, depending on our church, like twice a year. They'd love to see young people doing cool, cool, cool stuff. It's amazing. One of my favorite stories is when I started asking for support in my non-Christian networking. I found out that one of my football coach's wives was actually a Christian. And she said she couldn't provide any support for me, but she would sell tamales to help with my fundraising process. I'm like, I don't know what selling tamales is going to do, but the tamales and salsa must have been really good because she raised me $750 and it increased her faith and it increased my faith. But not only that, I had a landlord in college named Carol. She was not a Christian, but she invited me over to her house for spaghetti. I don't know why. It was like really bad spaghetti. But she made me sit down with her son and she said, "Hey, Jason, this is my son. He's an atheist. Didn't you just do a debate on God's existence?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, you should debate him." So 30 minutes later, we have this awful, horrible conversation conflict over this awful spaghetti. But then a couple weeks later, I received $300 in my account from this guy named Jason. I can't remember his last name. Jason Jensen. And it was my landlord's son who saw my letter to go on a global program. And he gave $300 to my account, all because he was excited about a young person doing something. So partnering with others helps us to rely on God. It's part of the mission trip. And it also increases our faith. It's biblical, it's safe, it's within God's will. And anyone who says different is lying to you. So that's our biblical basis for fundraising. I want to take time if we have any questions on that before we get into the more practical stuff. So any questions, analytical, more cerebral questions around the biblical basis for fundraising? No? Feeling good? Love it. Great. Okay. Now we're going to go into the more practical side of all of this, and you guys will have a lot of time to work on the practical stuff. So if you have to use the bathroom or anything, don't worry. I'm going to give you a ton of time to work on your contact list and to work on your letter before we come back together as a group. Okay, now I need you guys to get really good at using the chat again. We're going to go over some letters, and I want you to answer these questions in the chat. What do you notice about the letters below? Who do you think each letter was written to? So begin to read the letters and answer those questions. What do you notice about them, and who do you think each letter was written to? And these are students who have gone on the Bosnian GP before, so just start responding in the chat. or out loud. I don't care. All right, let's use our magical intervarsity OIA skills. And how about you share some observations with me? They are written to Christians. There's some Jesus-y language in here, which has grown my faith in God. Great. There is a lot of detail about each one. Olivia, would you mind going into more detail on what you meant by there is a lot of detail? I'm sorry.
Like just detail about like or in the first one with the dear friends and family, like I was mainly focusing on that one. And in the first paragraph, she's kind of talking about like how like she's gotten to this group and kind of that she's going on this trip
Yep. Yep.
and like how other people are going with her. And then it's going on to the second paragraph where it's like how she gets to like step out of her comfort zone and like just really
Great.
with God. And then in the third paragraph, it's just talking about how where the money comes in and the fundraising, where she is asking. And I think it's so cool that she like bolded bold
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
question bold so they can really like focus on that and see what she's asking. But I love how it's
Great.
at the bottom and it's not at the front. Like she gave the
Yeah.
detail in the beginning and then towards the end gave the question. And then at the bottom, she was saying how just like she's
Yeah.
thankful for everyone. So yeah, I think there was just detail. Like it wasn't so much where there wasn't like it was just writing in
Yeah.
no pictures, but there was detail to where people can understand what she's doing and kind of stuff like that.
That's great. Great. Yes. So they tell their story. Henry was saying they list other things that they're giving up and sacrificing. And that's a way of indirectly communicating, like, I'm all in on this. Would you be all in on this? I have other options. Grace, both have pictures, the Ivy logo and a map. People love photos. I guarantee. Here's the two things people are going to look at. Look at Ashton's letter. Photo, 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 bold, down. Like that's going to be their whole thought process, right? Some people are going to like read all of it, right? But some of our pro letters, they're like photo, 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 prayer requests, dope, I'm done, right? They did. Clearly written. It's a bold ask. It's with permission. Great, 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 Riker. Uh, a direct ask for different amounts of money. Yes, some people they need to see different giving options, right? And that will be really meaningful to a lot of people. They thank their readers. Great job. What else do you guys notice at the bottom? Contact info, so they can email them, send checks. Josh included an address. That's really good if people are wanting to send checks and he needs to reroute them. So that's good. Okay, what do we notice about this? Who do we think this is written to? And what do you notice about Liam's letter that is different from other people's letters? He's upside down. Great, Rachel. Good, good observation. Yes. Who do we think this letter is written to? Yes, he does focus on more of the practical side of the mission trip. So yes, it is for non-Christians. And you can notice that there is less Jesus-y language, right? He says faith community. He also mentions some of his non-Christian communities. And he makes it a big emphasis that he is blessed with the opportunity to travel to Banja Luka, Bosnia. So uh, people, regardless of their background, love to see people travel and explore the world and take risks and go on adventures. That might be an emphasis you need to have. What I like about Liam's right here is you can see different ways to give. So there's not only these numerical asks, but there's also different ways to give: an online way through a business reply envelope, which we'll get to. And he doesn't include sending a check, but he could have. So great. Uh, Returners. I have a returning letter in the base camp, which you guys can look at. We won't go through that now, but Gabe, Luca, Ramaya, Ellie, Aiden, you guys can look at this letter right here. That is also in the base camp. Some great tips for a letter: write a clear, straightforward letter, focus on the idea, underline keywords or sentences, or bold them, keep them short. Don't try to be a missiologist or a theologian. I try to be a missiologist often in Bible study, and I tell the joke, ever since I've gone to seminary, my small group leading has gotten worse, and Ellie can attest to that. So either knock it out of the park or no one walks away feeling the spirit because I decide to talk about theology. Uh, Make sure you ask and give a clear ask. Maybe some of you come from more indirect cultures and there's something that can be said there, and we can work on that. You can reach out to your staff leader on how to write a more indirect letter. Make sure you proofread it. Make sure it's on high quality paper, and avoid dark colors that will be really, really hard to read. Don't get like all like spazzy and strange with it, okay? Just make it straightforward, okay? You're probably sending letters to old people. Don't make them suffer, man. We know what's up, okay? Outline of the letter: introducing yourself, summarizing how God got you to that point, saying a total dollar figure. I know we said $4,700, but our actual goal will be $5,000. Surprise. I know it's just $300 more, and that might seem like a lot, and I'm sorry that was jumped on you now, but really, 35 people raising $300 more gives me about 10 grand of wiggle room with the budget. I really, really want 10 grand of wiggle room with the budget. So please try to raise 5,000. Ask if they will financially and prayerfully partner. Don't coerce them. And make sure you tell them that you'll follow up in a couple of weeks. Include how they can give. You will be given a donation link probably this week, where you will have a number and an account that they can give to online and find it super easily. Or you can tell donors to make checks payable like this, or you can fill out a BRE, which I will get to in a second. But those are going to be the three ways of giving. I have these slides uploaded in Basecamp, so don't worry if you don't have all this information yet. You'll be able to look over it again. Here's what's called a business reply envelope. All of your staff should have these, and you should take as many as possible. There will be a stack for you to get from your InterVarsity staff, and you should send these out with every letter you send. This is just a really easy way for people to send a check or a cash and to get a tax-deductible receipt from it. And basically, you're going to check this box other, you're going to write your name, and then you're going to write Banja Luka 2025. This is an easy way for people to give cash or checks. We are going to take time writing a letter. We're going to put them in Basecamp. But before that, we're going to go over our partnering list. Step 2 of today, the practical side, is you're going to make a partnering list. You are supposed to come up with around 100 contacts that you could reach out to and start working on their addresses or method of contact. If you are limited on your partnership list, here are some ways to brainstorm during this time. Ooh, we'll use that in a sec. What if I don't know anybody? I didn't know anybody. I just recently became a Christian about a year and a half before joining InterVarsity, or before going on a trip. I had less than 100 people on my list, and about 60 to 70% of my list was not Christian, and a lot of them were family members. But I kept brainstorming and I kept asking people to help me. So here are some ways to brainstorm. Family members and relatives, go through these bullet points, think about these things, think about these things. Hey, if you come from a school that has InterVarsity alumni, dude, bleed them dry. Bleed them dry. Make sure they give. You want my friend Cameron Rohan's number? Let's go get them. Let's have fun, okay? They need to be more generous anyway. Uh, ASU people, Zach Guess, go get them. Boise State, no idea. Tell Rachel. Uh, those I've influenced you spiritually, special networks. Here's some other ways to brainstorm. When I'm running out of people to think of, I go through Facebook, Instagram, any emails I've sent. I go through all the contacts in my phone. I'm going to pick on Cameron Clerico. Cameron had a great idea of if you don't have someone's address or preferred method of contact, send them a Google form that asks them for their address and for whatever method of contact they want to get. Have them fill it out. They're going to know that you'll be sending them a letter, and then they'll be able to give to you. That we'll go into that in a sec. Okay, final tips on brainstorming. If you need help, ask a staff or ask your parents to help you advocate and get your name out there for this. You can have them host a fundraising party. You can ask for their address list, or you can ask for them to connect you to their church. There's a lot of ways to get connected here. The final part of this before I go into base camp, I'm just going to go over expectations of fundraising. What do we need? What will we do? So when you send a letter, you need an envelope and you need stamps. The stamps go in the upper right-hand corner. I did not know that when I first started sending my envelopes in college. So when I went to the post office with 70 envelopes, I had to take all my stamps and move them to the right side because they were on the left side. So just know that stamps go on the right side. You'll need a business reply envelope or a BRE. Your staff will have those. And then, of course, you're going to need your letter and their addresses. Here's going to be our game plan for how we are fundraising this. All of December over winter break, we want you to collect addresses, stamps, and send out letters to people and start telling people over winter break about your summer plans. Tell people about the global program. Some people might want to give an end of the year gift for tax purposes in 2024. So if you can send an email, a Facebook message with a PDF, or a text conversation with a PDF, have a sit down conversation, make a phone call, or schedule a church meeting with your letter in it, please do it. Try to do it by 2024, but there's no rush. I might get lost in the Christmas smell if you do that. So be selective about what people you think that'd be good for. Game plan in January 2025 to May 2025. You're going to send out all your letters by mid-January. All of them. Every single letter by mid-January. That would be the goal for me. You're going to follow up with all those letters in the next couple of months. And then you're just going to ask people they got the letter, what they're thinking, if they consider giving, have phone calls with them. The most successful way is to send a person a letter, have a phone call with them, or a face-to-face meeting to tell them about it. So get your letter ready, get your address ready, mid-January, send it all out. Here are our financial deadlines. You need $5,000 by May 16th. That is the day we're supposed to be in Salt Lake. You will need $1,000 by February 1st so we can lock down flights. You will need $2,500 by March 8th. That is right before most of our chapter camps. You will need $4,000 by May 3rd, $5,000 by May 16th. You'll have a staff checking up with you and checking in on you to see how you're doing with this and coaching you along if you're struggling in any areas. Travel plans. We've offered up to some of you guys that if you want to fly to Bosnia and then fly out of a different city and spend some time European traveling, you can totally do that. We will be sending a Google form out to this team on Basecamp, and you'll need to fill it out by January 18th. But whatever amount extra your ticket costs will have to go into your fundraising. So if the average ticket cost there and back costs $1,800, but you want to go to Greece or Germany or Finland or Switzerland, and then fly out of Paris, you're going to pay for all those flights in between and you're going to fundraise it, which is great because then you get a European flight by fundraising through a mission trip. It's amazing. Some rules on traveling. You cannot travel alone, and you cannot travel with a romantic other. No sneaky, sneaky stuff like that. Okay. And not like this three romantic other stuff. I know there's some couples on the trip. So it's not like we're going to have three couples spend time in Rome together or Venice, the city of love. Not on the table. Okay. So get your friend groups together and see where you want to go. But none of this sneaky, sneaky stuff. Okay. Kelly and I are married. Bryce and Caroline married. We can do that. Okay. So watching. Okay. I can't tell if people are reacting poorly to this because all my screens are closed. Anyway, all right. Okay, we have 45 minutes to write letters, make a list, and upload it to Basecamp. I am now going to take us to Basecamp. Okay. Yeah, sorry, guys. So old. All right, now Abby's just making fun of me for saying sneaky, sneaky stuff. Okay, this is Basecamp. You guys all should have got an invite to this. If you go to Basecamp and you go to Docs and Files, you're going to see all the examples of letters I've posted in here in PDF format. You're going to see our Banja Luka partner training, which will have all the details that we've talked about. And then you're going to see your partnering list. So you should only use this if it is helpful to you. I know some people make it on notes, some people make it on another form of Excel, but here's a partnering list I've made for you guys that you can open. You can go to File and make a copy of it and put it in your own Google Drive. It's super easy. You just go to File, make a copy. But here you can put relationship, where they're at. You can put priority. Should they be a person you really focus on asking? Their name, their address, their email. If you've sent a letter to them, what method of contact they prefer. Have they given? Have you written a thank you letter? Use this only if it's helpful to you. I know it's not helpful to everyone, and that's okay. Most importantly, I want you guys to upload your letters to Basecamp. Please try to do that by today and at least over winter break at the latest so staff can give feedback to you. Okay, do you guys have any questions? I know that was a ton of info.
Yeah, Jason, you talked a lot about written letters. Can we also send emails as well, where that makes more sense?
Gabe, that does make more sense, and you should do that if it makes more sense. Great question, Gabe. Yes, you should be donor-centric or partner-centric. If people love letters, send them a letter. If people want an email, send them an email. Absolutely. What if people give you cash? Brian, if people give you cash, there are a couple of ways. You can put that cash in a business reply envelope and fill out all of their information, and InterVarsity will send them a tax-deductible receipt. Or you can donate that cash into your bank account and give to yourself. Or you can save that cash and hold it for other expenses that the trip doesn't cover, like your flight to Salt Lake City, which is not covered by your fundraising. Great question, Brian. Any other questions?
I had a quick question since we're talking about cash and money. How much
Mhm.
like extra money should we take, like from our own pockets? And like, should we take cash or do they take credit? I don't know.
They do take credit cards. Yes, it is not a third world country. You can take more cash, and it's really just how frugal you want to be. Some people like they need a snack every single day, and that's super annoying and super lame. Uh, but hey, like you should bring some money to get some bottled water sometimes if you need it, and that's totally okay. Their water is fine and clean. So Cece, I don't know how to answer that. You can bring $100 goes a super, super long way in Banja Luka, but maybe like $100, especially if you want to buy gifts for people. Yep, great question. Yep, go ahead, Kelly.
Some people have come with no spending money and didn't spend anything extra. I think Andrew Huang did that last summer. And some people drop a ton of money. So it's really what budget you want to give yourself. for spending. So
Okay, any other questions? All right. You guys have until 5. Okay, instead of flying, oh, sorry, Olivia. Instead of flying to Salt Lake City, yes, you could end up driving there. We would prefer one of two things. One, you guys all carpool, so we only have to store one car at the InterVarsity house. Two, someone drops you off, so we don't have to store a car at the InterVarsity house. We, like any other place, have a limited amount of parking. So, great question, Liv. All right. For the next 30 minutes, I want you guys to work on letters, a Christian letter, a non-Christian letter. I want you to upload them to Basecamp, or I want you to work on your contact list and also upload it to Basecamp. Basecamp is pretty intuitive, especially for young people that have some tech savviness. We're just all going to be in this space here. Feel free to mute your mic, mute your screen. I'm going to answer any questions you guys have. I'll be on the whole time, but make sure you are back on the screen at 5:50 for us to finish off, pray, and go over final details. And if you have any questions, put them in the chat or feel free to ask them out loud. Okay, go team, 5:50. Josh, I just got your correct email and I added you to the base camp.
Perfect.
Juan, I rejected your request to be an editor. You just need to go to File and make a copy. Yeah. Brian, how I answer your question, if someone gave you cash, uh, treat it in the same way you would give Venmo. Either take that cash money out of your bank, put it in a BRE with their info and mail it, or donate that money to yourself, or keep the money for other expenses like your flight to Utah or spending money there. We have about 2 minutes before I send you small groups, so just get ready. All right, let's come back together. So screen's on, I guess, indicating that you're here. I don't know. I don't do a lot of stuff on Zoom. It feels weird. Doug and Caitlin, it's dark now. It's
Yeah, dude,
crazy.
outside of Wendover, it's just pitch black, man. So
That's
crazy.
cool. It's fun. All right. I'm going to go over final details with you all. But before we do that, I am going to put you in your fundraising groups. So you have a staff assigned to you that will be your coach throughout this process. If you need help on what your letter should be like, sound like, look like, your email, you ask them. If you're like, hey, this person said they were going to give, but then they didn't, and I don't know what to do, you're going to ask them. If you're like, man, I am out of people to ask, I'm so scared, you're going to talk to them. So I'm going to put you in your breakout rooms. There should be four. Bryce, the only person you're missing is Ian. So I'll give you Ian's phone number. And Caroline, the only person you're missing is Blaze. And you have Blaze's phone number already. I'm going to put us into our breakout rooms. We're going to be in there for about 5 minutes. We're going to share our preferred method of contact, whether it's a iPhone group chat, whether it's a group me, whether it's just a Basecamp message. So we know how to coach and to contact you best. And then small group leaders, I want you to try to end around 5:54 and just pray a short blessing over them. So get ready to find out who your coach is. Ready, team? Let's go. Maya, did I not assign you one?
No, I
Oh,
got
what?
kicked out of the Zoom, so I'm not sure what's
Oh,
going
you
on.
did?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I need Gabe. You're in room one. Are you not assigned to one either? It says not joined. Gabe. Okay, I'm gonna move you. Where are you at? Okay, see, hold on. Okay, see if you can go now. Wait, hold on. Do it again. Okay, you're in a group with Aiden, Ellie. I mean, you'll see the group chat. What do you want to be in? Do you want to be in a group chat? think we all have iPhones. Okay, cool. All right. You can come down to mine and Kelly's room right now too if you want. Yeah, just rush down here. All right, okay. Thanks. Okay, bye.
There
Computer
he
messed
is.
up. Hey, group. Gabe
Hey.
rushed down here, so pretty chill. Uh, did we? Gabe, do you want to put in this AirPod? Sorry. Gabe in Robin's room. Did we establish our preferred method of contact? Was it iPhone?
Yeah, I'm gonna make a group message on iMessage.
Oh. What do you want our group message to be called?
Feels like a lot of pressure.
Nice balloons, Aiden. Great choice.
Yeah.
Riker, you are in charge of the name. Go.
Me? I got nothing.
It also looks like you have a dress in your room right now.
Uh, yeah. What can I
Right.
say, guys?
Well, I'm gonna kick us out of the room. So, uh, Aiden, do you want to say a short prayer over us? Do you want to start? Then Ellie will close. You have 60 seconds.
Yeah. All right, 60 seconds. Let's go.
Yep.
Yeah, God, we just thank you for this team. We thank you for this opportunity that you're giving us to go back to Bosnia and go for the first time. We ask that you just bless us in our fundraising. You can just unite us as one spirit, one mind. As we go about this, help us to lean on each other, help us to ask, be quick to ask, and just be relying on you.
Jesus, thank you that we're continuing to learn the secret of being content. And so, Lord, I just ask that you can bless each of the people in this group, that we can learn to be content in the hard and in the good, that we can learn to continue to ask you and ask others and be vulnerable, God. Would you unite us? Would you grow us through this experience? And would you lead us where you want us to go? We give this trip to you. We give this fundraising to you. This is about you. This isn't about us. Yeah, we love you, Lord, and we're so grateful for this opportunity. Pray all this in your name. Amen.
Wow. 3 seconds left. Great. That was really quick. Am I right? My goodness. All right. Staff, I also think their numbers are available on their application, so we can trade those around when we talk about it. Just some final details with you guys while we close. Partnering with others financially and prayerfully helps us to rely on God and others even before the mission trip. But not only that, partnering with others financially and prayerfully is part of the mission trip. Partnering with others financially and prayerfully helps others to be missional. What you need to do, you need to collect addresses, emails, or phone numbers over winter break. You need to fill out your partner list by January 1st at the latest. And some of you might even want to send letters, emails, texts, PDFs before that. You should have your letters uploaded, hopefully during finals week, hopefully before Christmas, so we can give feedback on it. You need to send your first letters out by the first week of school, the second week of school at the latest. And you need to follow up on those letters throughout spring semester. Your financial deadlines are here. Kelly wanted to make a quick comment on travel plans. So, Kelly, could you go ahead and do that?
Yeah, will you mute? Thanks. Okay, yeah. So these deadlines are what Jason said earlier. And then travel plans. I'm going to be posting a Basecamp message. So there's a tab on Basecamp called Message Board. I'm going to be posting a message there with some details and parameters to think about your traveling afterwards. We highly, highly encourage you travel in groups with other people on the team. So like Jason said, you can't go alone and you can't just go off with like one other person because it's still kind of an intervarsity sponsored experience. So group travel will be ideal. So I'm going to make that post. You guys can be talking with each other, but you can also comment trips that you would like to do. So like the last time Chase and I went, we had a group that went to Greece all together, and they just kind of put that out there of like, hey, we're planning a trip. A couple of us want to go to Greece. Who else wants to come? The first year, Chasen and I wanted to go to Italy. And so we put that out there and ended up taking, there was like 20 of us that all went to Italy together. So you can use Basecamp to start kind of coordinating those plans. We need those solidified enough that we can book your flights the first week of February. So you don't need to know specifically like what hotel you're staying at or kind of your itinerary, but you do need to know the cities that you're going to and the dates that you need to be flying to those places. I see the question in the chat. Yes, you can meet up with family. So that's the exception of the traveling alone, is if you're flying directly to meet up with family, whether that's your parents, people have met up with like family that lives in Europe, that's all totally fine. But if you're traveling just with friends, we ask you try to make that a group. It also does make accommodation a little bit cheaper if you travel with other people. So, and then the final thing is you are responsible, Jason's mentioned this, for getting to Salt Lake. May 16th is when our orientation starts in Salt Lake City. And you are responsible for getting yourself here. You can decide how you want to do that. So you can fly, and we will pick you up from the airport. We live about 10 minutes from the airport. We're more than happy to make rounds to pick people up. So you can choose to fly into Salt Lake. You can choose to drive down, but we only really have capacity for one car per campus to drive here. But if you have someone that lives nearby, or like I know like Rachel's parents live nearby, so like you could drive down and leave a car there. We can coordinate if you choose to drive, but you'll just be limited on where you can leave cars. But you need to be in Salt Lake by 3 p.m. So if you are wanting to book a flight to Salt Lake, make sure you arrive by 3 p.m. to Salt Lake City. So I don't know what else you have, Jason, but
For any of you that don't have passports, please start applying for them immediately, right now. That takes a sec to do. People love to travel, so make sure you do that. All right. Any questions for us before we bless you out? We wanted this to go about 2 hours. So, any other questions? We are staying in Salt Lake Friday, Saturday, and then leaving Sunday, Liv, after church. We are going to Capital Church, Rachel. Did that question matter that much? Slay. Great. Yeah? Okay. I'm going to bless you. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to your staff. Make sure you upload stuff in Basecamp. Oh, CC, I'm looking at your question. Are we coming back to Salt Lake City June 22nd? Kelly?
kind of. You debrief ends on June 22nd, so that is when we will depart from our debrief location. But it's about 18 hours of travel to get back, and then there's time change. So I don't know the exact math of that. But you should be leaving our debrief location, which will be somewhere in Croatia. We're still figuring that out. On June 22nd. And then you'll get back, probably plan on being back in Salt Lake or wherever your home destination is on the 23rd. So if you're not traveling afterwards.
All right. I'm going to pray a blessing over us. Staff and student leaders, will you stay on for just a little bit? And everyone else, you are free to leave. Make sure you upload the stuff to Basecamp. If you have any questions, feel free to ask your leader. King Jesus, thank you so much for all these students. Thank you for the opportunity to build deeper, more intimate relationships with you, with those in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and with those that are prepared to send us. God, in your name we pray. Amen.